So just before I get into this review, this is post-production Spiderhands here. I'm making an amendment at the start of this review because after reviewing and talking about this track and what I thought it was about, I actually realized that this track is actually about Joel Baker's mother. It's a song about Joel Baker's mother who passed away, and it's a letter to her with a letter back to him. Now, I'm putting this here because I think I misinterpreted what the song was about during the review. I'm just letting you know that that's actually what the track is about, so that you bear that in mind. So if it doesn't come across that I think that in the review, you've gotten this now. I'm just doing this out of respect to Joel Baker and his mom and everything like that, because I think this is a beautiful song, and I really hope that you guys enjoy the review. Anyways, hopefully you do enjoy the review. I'll see you in a second. Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Joel Baker titled One More Time. And if we switch over to here, this track is actually off of an upcoming debut album from Joel Baker. I'm not actually sure if I'm allowed to mention the name of it, but if I am, I'll put it in here. But yeah, it's exciting. It's my first time listening to Joel, so I'm excited. This should be good. We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, fantastic use of filtering with those vocals there. Great tone, nice and bright. Oh, damn man, there's so much to take in instantly. I love the freshness to it and the professionalism of the production.
I don't ever wanna say bye. I know that we're never not close. I don't ever wanna let go. I don't ever wanna say bye. I know that we're never not close. Tell me one more time. Listen, Mom, miss you.
Just before we go into the next section as well, this is very interesting stuff. To have this theme roll off of just vocal takes, well, with like backing vocals creating this sort of harmony here with the bass, and for him just be able to bounce off of that as a main lead into a little bit of melodic rapping here. It's kind of dope, eh?
My dreams and my thoughts alike. I've been writing words to heal, yeah, you taught me right. Well, you're my flower, you're my
sick.
I need you. I've been trying to disguise, but I'm see-through. I've been trying to freeze the tears, but they snowball. I'd do anything today for a phone call.
I'll do anything today for a phone call. Great clarity of vocals in the mix, actually. Yeah, I'm really blown away by the studio side of things. It's nice just to have that space without those backing vocals as well. We've got separation and distinction between these different parts of the song. It's interesting and engaging, and it keeps your attention because it's just not all the same.
Really wanna float above from all this stuff. Wish that you could
great use of these little tingly kind of synth parts.
It'd always be the only face that fits the frame now. It's been kinda tricky without you. I still see now it's hard to visit without you. Our special day won't be the same without you, but I just want you to know.
Just before I go any further, I think we're going back into the hook here. I love those cute little electric keyboards in the side there. There's a great warmth to it, a little bit of a buzz there that's kind of homely. It kind of sounds cozy. And when he's talking about wanting to hear from that someone, get sort of reframe and reconnect, it's like that's a kind of place of safety, you know? I like that sense of caring that is not only there with the vocals and the performance there, but also is the case with the harmony and the musicality of the accompaniment. Nice development of this hook theme here as well with the vocals and the backing parts. Well, no, the harmonized vocals. The backing vocals are relatively similar. And those buzz rolls on the drum are a nice touch. And I'm loving it. I think there's some different singers in there. I can hear some lady vocals in there as well on the sides there. Great use of different textures to really fill that out. Great slip in the difference between the dynamic range, perceived loudness of the chorus and the hook there. Yeah, it's great.
I could miss you every day still. You know that I miss you tons. I write to you every morning from the farthest stars. I'm still your mother if we're close or we're far apart. I really love you. You chose to love. You opened up. I know it hurts. Sometimes it's supposed to love. When the flowers died, you rose above. I love you loud. I love you. You done me proud. I can't wait to meet her. Wait.
Oh, and we just got this guitar coming in now. We're aware that, you know, the backing and coming we had with the first verse was enough with the bass, and that's the cute little sort of electric keyboard parts. But the guitar on the right and having some of those like pad vocals, and it's just that bit of change. It's really meaningful, you know. It's attention to detail.
I just know we'd be the bestest friends. That she's lovely and she's stunning and she's caring too. Seeing you happy, there's no joy I could compare it to. There's no weapon that I won't destroy to hold you tight. I know your voice, you'll always be my oldest boy. You're my mostest joy. Don't forget to take a bunch of Polaroids now.
Don't forget to take a bunch of Polaroids. It's so kind and friendly. It's such a great song. It's these positive vibes, man. You know, all too often I get a first impression with someone, and it's either kind of bittersweet or it's sad, you know. And it's also, you know, on the flip side, incredibly difficult to write. I think to write a song that is positive and also either interesting, because, you know, how often can you be truly happy for someone's happiness when everyone's got stuff going on, right? That's the bitter, cynical part of me. But he almost earns my goodwill by being as proficient as he is as a vocalist. And the production and the composition arrangement is stellar. So all you can do is just sit with it and be like, yeah, no, I'm happy for you, dude. Great approach to that, you know? A little bit of whistle voice there. Okay. Wow. Damn. What a banger of a track, dude. Because this is my conclusion of One More Time, which is a track by Joel Baker, a musician I'm listening to the first time today. Genuinely impressed by it. I think the story of the song is about someone who obviously misses another, you know. They had a connection, they had that closeness there, they had memories together, you know. They shared something special, maybe that person's moved away, and they want to reconnect, but also they understand that life is like that. Sometimes people just, they dip, you know, you separate for whatever reason. And I think the development thematically that we have towards the end, especially with those Polaroids, is that I understand where you are and what you're doing. Take some Polaroids, show me the memories that you have. I hope that you're happier where you are, and I wish you the best of luck in future. And I think that's such a caring, loving thing. And I know I've said caring a lot in this. And again, I think caring is a fantastic way of describing almost the entirety of this track. You know, like if we compare the story and how it's told by the vocalist, the singer Joel, as well as the backing vocalists here, I mean, it's absolutely stunning. You know, you've got such a genuine authenticity with the vocal performance there. A great vocal technique. You know, we're comfortable within our range, and we can work between our head and our chest voice fairly effortlessly. Nice little bits of vibrato there and legato passages, a little bit sassy sometimes, and I like the vocal runs that are not necessarily more word oriented or story oriented. Sometimes we just use we just have like little vocal runs, like little more melodic concepts rather than like again telling the tale, and I dig that. But it's not just that with the vocals. What elevates it, I think, is that we have a musician here who understands that it's just, to be honest with you, it's not always enough just to have one singer. You know, it can really elevate that part of a composition, a track, if you have multiple different vocal textures and different ranges and to have a nice big full sounding backing. It's just really clever, and I like the fact that he took turns with them. Sometimes they were together, sometimes they were apart. I think it's strength, testament to the professionalism and consideration of Joel that he did not always make himself the focal point. I really appreciate the fact that he took turns just to let the people in the back have a go, and him, and then they came together. And it kind of comes to, you know, like there's a separation between them, but then in the end they do meet up, and there's a common ground there that's found. I really like that. The structure of the track, you know, is stellar. It's, you know, I think you started with the hook. You had a couple of verses with like an A B A B A structure, or B A B A B if you consider the chorus to be the B section. We didn't need more than that. You know, a 3-minute 30 track, it's short enough that you can get away with that. If the performance is compelling, if the musical theme is, which I adore it. I love how vocal oriented it is. Too often I think that people either get stuck on the arrangement, like the guitars, bass, drums, keys being the thing that is the center of attention, or they almost make it seem like more of an ego project where the voice is the motif and everything else is just kind of stellar and kind of stuck in standard. And it's disappointing because it's like people focus on one thing or the other. And I get the impression with the amalgamation of the vocals inwards with like the bass and the drums and the little extra, I think there's some brass saxophone bits that were sampled or played in there, a little bits delay and repeaters on those. With the keys, the gentle little keys in the sub layer there, it's just so dope, man. You can't make this up. It's legitimately a really great first impression. Like instantly, I think that if I listen to more of Joel's stuff, I'm going to enjoy it. And that's powerful because I don't always feel like that when I listen to songs in these reviews. I genuinely don't. Sometimes I never want to hear anything more from them again, even if most of it is really strong, just because there's one thing that kind of screws it up. But the musical motif here was nice and upbeat, caring, and gentle and kind, and it matched the vocal performance as well as the story, as well as the accompaniment, the instrumentation, the performance there, not just from the vocals, but also the bass and the drums there. I didn't really talk much about the rhythms. The buzz rolls that we had occasionally, intermittently, were a nice touch, but I think the strength of it was simply having the drummer work with that eighth note groove occasionally, the chord note accents on the kicks and snares, but they were subtle enough to allow the melody to be the focal point rather than the rhythm. And I think if you give a steady pace to it, it's just nice and gentle. You know, you don't need the kicks to always be punchy. Sometimes they can be a little bit more sort of supportive. I like the minimalism of the different bass, drum, and key parts, and the little lead guitar riffs there. There was a complexity to those vocal layers, you know, like we had some interesting triads explored there in intervals, but we stayed with relatively conservative with the key signatures and scale shapes we used, the melodic phrasing there with everything else in the accompaniment. I think that was just to the strength and allowed more flexibility from the vocal parts. So well done on that front. Finally, the recording, mixing, mastering, the production was stunning. It's a commercial release. It's ready to be distributed. And I mean, this is where we're at. Before we release the album's gonna be big. Like, for real. I have a lot of faith in that. I think we just need to make sure that every track is up to the standard. And if we can get each track up to the standard, I think that Joel Baker is gonna have a really strong chance at really getting some headway with it. I mean, the EQing, the filtering of the instruments was absolutely phenomenal. The stereo panning was incredible. Lots of different vocal parts and instruments in the mix. It was nice and full sounding. You could discern the different elements and ingredients in there nicely. The mixing, like the volume and gluing of the tracks in that part was phenomenal. You know, nothing was too resonant or weird. It was really well balanced. There was a great sense of dynamic range there, especially some of those parts like going into the verse from that initial hook concept. It was just that sense of emptiness kind of reflected, I think, what we might have been going through in that first part, sort of explaining how we felt without that person in our life. And then later on, when you get that sense of hopefulness back about being okay with that person not being around, you get those backing vocals in to fill it up a little bit, as to appreciate there's people around you that you're not completely alone. And I think that's gorgeous. The limiting compression was sensational. It was nice and loud without pumping. And the effects change on the various instruments, including the vocals. There wasn't a lot of synthetic noise going on there with, like, it wasn't oversaturated in the effects change, but it was enough to kind of keep them nice and clean. Thankfully, the vocal recordings sounded like there wasn't like a lot of auto-tune or anything like that, which I really appreciate. In fact, I don't think there was any auto-tune. I think they're just fantastic singers, and that's, again, something that you have to appreciate nowadays, because it can be really tempting to try and fix a recording, but then you can lose the humanity within that. So that's testament just to the skill and proficiency of everyone involved. Ultimately, this is a very strong track. I don't really think there's any weaknesses with it. And that's effectively my review of Joel Baker's One More Time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go and show Joel Baker some love via his various social medias, and I'm sure this will be on all major digital streaming platforms. And stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.